Tina, it's great to see you again.
Nice to see you.
You're a writer on this, the original film, and then, of course, the hit musical on Broadway. When did you realize how massive the fan base is for this story?
I mean, somewhere in the working on the Broadway show, I think I realized that millennials especially feel a lot of ownership of the movie, and that I think it was on TBS, every day of their life. So they, the way I saw the Brady Bunch, whether I wanted to or not, they saw this movie, whether they wanted to or not.
Okay, I love the Brady Bunch, and now you've taken me down that path. That's like my favorite. The most important question I'm going to ask you today: the word "fetch." Tell me about the moment that word was created. It's my mom's favorite word, by the way. She uses it even when the Mean Girls movie isn't in conversation.
That's awesome.
It's great. When was the moment that word was created? Do you remember?
I basically do that when I was working on the first movie, and I was it was summertime, and I was out on Fire Island, and I was talking to local teenagers. Like, they agreed to talk to me. I was like, I'm writing a high school movie. Can I talk to you? And I was asking them about what kind of slang, like, what do you call this? And I was getting kind of current slang from them. And I just thought, you know what? By the time this movie comes out, this slang will be gone and the movie will seem corny. So I thought, let me just make up some slang. And I was like, okay, fetch, like short for like fetching, something's beautiful, it's fetching. And Gretchen is kind of smart. I feel like Gretchen would have quietly done well on her Jane Austen test in school or whatever. So I thought, okay. And then when we went to do the Broadway show, I remember Lorne Michaels' daughter, who was maybe in college at the time, said, people don't really say fetch anymore. Like, fetch is kind of old. And Lorne was like, no, fetch is from the movie. Like, it's not, we made it up. Like, we can say it if we, but it's just to them, like, they were younger, they just thought it was real slang.
Everybody's excited about this movie. I love it. It's just fantastic. But I've seen Lorne Michaels in some interviews. He said, this is not a remake. I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, it's not a remake because it's sort of it's this like fun hybrid. It's going to give you some cozy nostalgia, but it's also going to surprise you. And it does. Obviously, it's the musical, so it's giving you that if you've never seen any of that music. But it's also reinterpreting all that music, so it doesn't feel like a Broadway show. It feels it's very cinematic. Paramount referring to it as a remix is closer to a remake. It's more of a remix.